So the smoke test is basically there to help an organization who have a code base, a piece of software that they're familiar with, to understand the size and shape of their problem. So we arrange a non-disclosure agreement with the organization, because obviously we've got access to their software crown jewels, if you like. And then we scan using software composition analysis. We scan through the software, and we're looking for three things. We're looking for copyright issues. Vast majority of people don't copyright the code correctly. So, there's no embarrassment there. We give hints and tips and actually generate some files as well to help you copyright your code. We're looking for security vulnerabilities. So, as I've said many, many times before, the easiest software to hack is old, unpatched software. So we look for those components, and then we identify them to you and help you understand what needs to be replaced, what needs to be upgraded, etc. And then thirdly, we're looking for licensing vulnerabilities as well. So the vast majority of people don't want to be forced into releasing their source code or having to make an offer for the source code, which is something that turns up quite a lot with the use of open source components, specifically something called copyleft or GPL licenses. And if those have made their way into code base, you quite possibly want to manage those out in most circumstances. So we look for those items, and then we give a report back, and you have then all the information to improve the quality of your code. We would always say as early as possible. It'd be great if we could get involved with customers just as they're, kicking off their project, and then all the developments every time they do a publish, then we can do a scan along and we can work alongside the customer throughout. That would be ideal. I think it's called shifting left in the process. But I would say as you're getting to the point of beta is as late as you want to leave it. The later you leave it in your development, the more it gets increasingly and actually quite aggressively more expensive. And certainly what you don't want to do, or would ideally not do, is do a software composition analysis just as you're about to launch. Because if you can imagine, we find a component which has got maybe 10 or 15 security vulnerabilities, and there's no upgrade path for that component. There's no new version of that component. What are you going to do? Are you going to ship with vulnerabilities that's going to make your customers' code or software hackable? Or are you going to rip that component out and look for something that does the same, but you're going to have to recode around it to fit it in? So as early as possible is definitely the way to go, but certainly no later than the beta phase. Pen testing is incredibly popular. It's hit the headlines in a lot of ways. It's being highly polarized as a way of avoiding or mitigating the risks of cybersecurity. And we think it's absolutely got its place. But what we can do with software composition analysis is make your pen testing more efficient. So a lot of pen testing can be done like blind. So you're literally, you don't know where the target is. So you're actually spending money for people to try and figure out how they would attack your web application. And what we can do is, with software composition analysis, we can help to identify the profile of that piece of software, which you may not know if you've outsourced your development, for example. And using that profile, we can then help the pen testers to look specifically into the areas which are most vulnerable and strengthen those. Now, that doesn't prevent you doing blind penetration testing. Of course, you can still spend your money on that. It just becomes a choice. It gives you more control over how you want to spend your money. If you've got a limited budget, think about your own house. If you've got a limited budget, you're going to spend money on the areas which are going to have the highest strengthening capabilities.